It's football. I've been watching it for 40 years.
Are you kidding me?
You're listening to Winning Cures Everything.
Game day, baby. Wake up or get out.
Here's your host,
a confident young man, a superb athlete,
Gary Seegers.
All right, let's get to it. It is Winning Cures Everything. I am your host, Gary Seegers. This is, that's right, the Wednesday, May 1st edition of the show. A little bit of a Winning Cures Everything reboot. I'm going to try and redo the website this summer. I'm going to try and do the show more regularly. A lot of stuff going on the home front. So, but this thing, I know it's been a month. It's been forever. I went to Costa Rica. I think I came back and did one show. It's been mayhem, right? If you are not already, subscribe to the channel, like the video, subscribe on the podcast, leave a 5-star. You guys know what to do with this shit. Whatever, right? Y'all know what to do. The Bet US College Football Show, still rolling. That's right, off-season content. And I know Josh Pate doesn't like the word off-season, but it is the off-season when all these deals are being made and people are transferring and blah, blah. You're rebuilding the rosters, etc., right? There's a lot going on in this crazy freaking sport. Several things that I want to talk about today. Some of this stuff is old news, but I have not gotten to hit on it yet, and I do want to at least discuss it. So we're going to do this while I'm on the way to a kindergarten field trip. WinningCuresEverything.com is the website, by the way. So you can sign up there and become a member. Or you can, if you want to help out the show, go to buymeacoffee.com/winningcureseverything. Very easy to do. Okay, let me tell you this. The 5-year-old, who is now 6, today is May 1st, today is his 6th birthday. He has gotten me back into WWE. I'm sure some of you remember Chris. If you watched our NFL Draft Live show, Chris Giannini, who used to do the show with me, think he left a couple of years ago to start a couple of businesses, whatever. Chris, which, by the way, he is now doing a show on the College Huddle. It's the SEC College Huddle, so go and check those guys out. But Chris and I used to watch WWE all the time when we were in elementary school up close to middle school, right? We would go to the video store, which those don't even exist anymore, so younger listeners may not know what that is, but, Blockbuster, etc. We would go to the video store, and we would rent old WrestleManias. And back then, I mean, my God, I'm 41 years old now. If that was that's like 30-some-odd years ago. So we would rent WrestleMania videos and watch those, and we had a blast. I mean, it was just an absolute fantastic time, and the kid is so into any wrestler that has a mask. And if you're watching on video, you see me scratching my nose. Look, my allergies have been killing me. But he isn't. So the toddler, the child, whatever you call him now, he is into like Rey Mysterio, and there's this dude named T-Bar, and he loved The Fiend. Had no idea, still at this point, I don't believe, understands that Bray Wyatt passed away. He's real excited about Uncle Howdy coming back, like all this kind of stuff. Any wrestler that has a mask, he is super excited for. But he also likes The Rock, and he likes John Cena, and he likes Seth freaking Rollins, and Cody Rhodes, and all that kind of stuff, right? So I was able to find him for his birthday, and I still haven't given it to him just yet, but by the time this comes out, he'll probably have it. He's been asking for a Papa Shango action figure since before Christmas. And I went to Walmart last night and found a freaking Papa Shango action figure. Like, WWE came out with, like, these older guys, these older figures, just as, like, a whatever thing. And they only had one of them, and it was Papa Shango at Walmart. It was like $20. He is going to flip his freaking lid. And I can't wait to see that. But we got him The Rock and John Cena. His grandmother got him a new wrestling ring for his guys to wrestle in. He's got The Fiend and Rey Mysterio, and she got him Seth freaking Rollins and whatever else. So, yeah, It's going to be a blast. But we watched WrestleMania, and you should have seen this kid's reaction. I mean, unbelievable. He nearly cried when he realized that he was going to get to watch Rey Mysterio live. And when he won, I mean, this kid was running around. He lost his mind. This was during the Final Four, so he was losing it. And I loved it. I freaking loved it. Other things on the home front, what all has gone down. I went to Nashville with my little brother and went and saw Tom Segura live. And Segura's great, right? Just awesome stand-up. Like, the show was awesome. I had a blast, whatever. But let me tell you, Nashville, saw a buddy online that explained what Nashville is now. And he said it's a bunch of Californians cosplaying as Texans. And that's what Broadway is in Nashville. Now, I spent a ton of time in Nashville because that's where we recorded all of our records when I was in a band. And it's not that I don't like it. It's just like, it's kind of turned into honky-tonk New Orleans. Everybody just goes there to party and whatnot, and it's just so weird to see what it's turned into compared to what it used to be. So, Broadway is, every other bar is named after a country singer, and the drink prices are absurd. My little brother and I got 2 double makers and waters, and the bill was like $71. I mean, it's like, it's that much for a shot of Maker's Mark in water? Like, what? So I don't know. It seems a little odd, but cheers to them. Nashville has turned into the tourist capital of the state of Tennessee, much more so than Memphis has, for sure. So, all right. So it's May 1st. Topic number 1 here: the transfer portal is officially over at this point. Now, there's still a lot of guys that are in the portal, but at this point, the ones that went in late, you kind of know where they're going, right? Top 150 or top 125, whatever it is, 4 or 5 star recruit, Peyton Woodyard, safety, that signed at Alabama. He went into the portal at the very last minute and had a do not contact tag. And all the smoke is coming from Eugene, Oregon, right? Because everybody thinks that Oregon is the team to beat here. And that makes sense. All these guys that go in with a do not contact on them means that they already know where they're going, which means they have likely been tampered with, right? So, it is what it is. Like, that's the name of the game now. That's what this sport has become. And it's good for some teams. It's not good for other teams. But you just got to learn to deal with it. So, and that, I don't blame Woodyard, right? Because he signed to play with Nick Saban. And then Saban retired a month after, or not even a month later, like 3 weeks after he signed his NLI, National Letter of Intent. It is what it is. The transfer portal is not what we expected to start with, right? Because this spring window we thought was going to be absolutely wild, and the basketball transfer portal has certainly been wild, but the football one, there was not that much going on, which means that most programs, it appears, got their stuff in order, and they paid their guys that they needed to pay. So nobody was going into the portal to try and get like an extra payday or anything like that. It was just very easy to do. So you didn't see a bunch of quarterbacks changing. You didn't see that much stuff. You did see Damian Martinez leave Oregon State, which is not a huge surprise, but, man, it just sucks for the Beavers, right? It just sucks. The offensive linemen that went in, 2 of them that left SMU, one of them ended up at Oklahoma, and I don't even know where the other one went. But regardless, here's the other thing. You see some of these big-time guys, right? What was the kid from TCU? Had a weird-looking name. Dominic Williams, I think that's right. He went into the portal, and everybody said, oh, TCU losing a big one, etc. Well, you also got to look at the fact that he may not really fit the scheme that Andy Avalos is trying to use, right? Like, they're not running 3 down linemen. They're running 4, and he may be more used to being a nose tackle. And I mean, there's no telling. There's no telling what it is. I don't know. The portal is definitely strange. Cormoni McLean from Colorado, along with like 20-something other guys that went in the spring portal. Nobody knows where Cormoni McLean is going to go, but it looks like he's going to go to one of the smaller schools to try and actually develop. So that's at least somewhat interesting. There's just a lot of names moving around that you may not have thought was going to happen. Let's see. Safety Jacoby Matthews from Texas A&M doesn't have a spot yet. Keandre Lambert Smith, the Penn State leading wide receiver for the Nittany Lions, he is committed to Auburn, so he got his money there. Kent State defensive tackle C.J. West, as of right now, I don't believe that he's got a spot. I mean, you got all kind of stuff, right? Hayes, the defensive end from Pitt, the edge guy, he said that he didn't feel like Pitt was in a win now spot, and then he goes and commits to Colorado. Colorado, really? Like, that's okay. I feel like it's easier to win in the ACC for Pitt than it is for Colorado to be winning in the Big 12. I mean, have you seen Colorado's schedule? I'm not trying to get into a talk about Colorado every time I get on this thing, but I mean, geez, like, what are we doing? So yeah, I'm real curious about a lot of this, but hey, that's what this is. I'm just ready for rosters to be finalized so that I can start doing numbers and have like real numbers, because I got to a point where I was working on them and then I felt like it was such a waste of time for me to be doing these, because everything just goes up in smoke when you lose like 2 or 3 of your best out of a position group or something like that, right? So now we're going to know who's gone, but you don't know who you're getting in yet, and it's just, college football used to be so much easier. I wish it was like the NFL where there were like hard deadlines, and they're trying to work on that. In the NFL, you know exactly when free agency is and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, there's injuries that are going to happen and whatnot, but like you at least have an idea of when the roster is finalized. In college football, it's just kind of all over the place. Topic number 2. EA College Football is coming on July 19th. That's right. So we are about, let's say, 2.5 months away, and I am ecstatic. Absolutely ecstatic about this. I have gotten more and more into it, and I plugged up the PS3 the other day and turned on CFB Revamped, and that I haven't updated the rosters since the year after COVID. But, I mean, good Lord, those guys did an absolutely incredible job with that. Like, those guys designed what this new game should really look like. And I'm sure it's going to look even better than what those guys did. But they put in so much effort into that CFB Revamped stuff that I am just ecstatic about EA College Football. I cannot freaking wait for this. I don't even have any real updates on it other than we got a date. But I'm just so excited about Dynasty Mode and whatever else. Like, I am going to spend some time this summer playing that game and having an absolute blast. And I might put it on the channel. I don't know. You guys tell me if that's what you want. Remember, you can reach out to @GaryWCE on all the socials. I might put some stuff up there. We might see if we can get some tournaments going. I've got the PS5, so if anybody else has a PS5. I don't know if you can play across platforms. I don't know anything about video games nowadays. Did you guys hear about the Dave & Buster's thing where you can actually gamble? Anybody over 18 in their establishment can gamble on video games in there? Like, you and your buddy can gamble or whatever else. I found this odd because I thought that the legal gambling age was 21, not 18. So I don't know how that's different for, like, arcade games. But, I mean, who knows? We will see. We will see. There is talk about a G5 playoff, and it's being spearheaded by Derek Dooley, who is trying to spin this with private equity. Now, first off, I've talked about this in the past. You don't want private equity anywhere near this sport. You don't want it. You don't want to do it. G5 schools, at least in this initial proposal, here's what they wanted out of the college football playoff. Each of the G5 schools wanted like $2.15 million. That's what they were looking for, because they thought they were going to, once this deal went through and they were making more money for more games and the G5 was actually going to get a team in and blah, 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 they thought they were going to get like 2.15 per G5 school. But what ended up happening is they are set to make about $1.3 million. And that's kind of absurd when you're looking at the fact that like the SEC and the Big Ten are both making in excess of $20 million per year before they even get schools in, right? Like it's each team that goes in gets like another $4 million per game that they play in. So yeah, like the G5 conference that gets a team in is going to get an extra $4 million to spread out between their conference. But like we're talking, if it's the Sun Belt and there's 14 teams splitting $4 million, you know, it's more money, but it's whatever, right? And you don't get that every year. You only get it in the years where you actually get a playoff team. So there's so much that has gone on with this, and they seem to think that they can make in excess of, I think it's like $215 million, if I'm not mistaken, but $215 million a year selling the TV rights to a G5 playoff. And, you know, okay, I'm curious. Like, I don't know exactly what's going on there, but I think that if I were them, if I'm the G5 schools, which a lot of the commissioners don't even know what's going on with this. Like, this is so, like, such early stages that they just don't even know what's happening. If I were them, I would look into just getting all of the G5 schools together in one big pot and then trying to sell their TV rights that way. Not doing it through a, what's the word I'm looking for? Not doing a, like individual TV deals, not doing a playoff, whatever. The issue with this, right, is the fact that you are essentially taking yourself away from the table. You're not going to be involved in the CFP at all, which is fine, but you're implementing your own split without forcing the P4 conferences to do that. So do you really want to do that? And when it comes down to, you know, and we'll talk more maybe later in the week or early next week about the House case and the fact that the SEC and the Big Ten have put together a not a proposal, but an idea of how they are going to revenue split with athletes. They have an idea of how they're going to pay players, basically. And if the House case gets settled and each school owes $20 million back pay, how is that going to work? Right? How are these G5 schools going to be able to pay that? So they're looking for more money, but are you going to make more by doing this? Would you make more going a different route? And I mean, it would almost make more sense for the G5 schools to just let the NCAA do their stuff, right? FCS does that. It seems odd. There will eventually be a split. Do you want to voluntarily do it? Right? Because as it sits right now, the only reason why the G5 has a spot at all is because of the antitrust suit possibilities. Because if the Big Ten and the SEC and the ACC and the Big 12 don't allow them access to this playoff, then, I mean, they can sue. And at that point, yeah, you could certainly make some money off that. It's not going to be great for your relationship, but either way. The SEC and the Big Ten, latest stuff from Ross Dellinger, like he wrote a bunch of stuff about this. But Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti both confirmed that, yeah, they were ready to leave the CFP if the new contract was not finished. So I found that interesting because I never really thought that they would do that. But, alas, here we are. They did it. And everything turned out the way that they wanted it to. They got quite a bit. So I'm happy for them, I suppose. But just wild. Just absolutely wild. Could you imagine where we had it only an SEC and Big Ten playoff, and then everybody else had like their own playoff? Yes, those are like the name brands that the majority of people would want to watch. But man, just splintering your sport. Why would you do that? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Number 4, Reggie Bush got his Heisman back. I talked about it on the college football show on BetUS TV. Part of me understands where like Parker's coming from and whatnot, and sure, it's great that he got his Heisman back and whatnot. But I am never a fan of trying to rewrite history. You know, like everybody knew that everybody was paying everybody. The only real stipulation for any of this was don't be reckless. Don't be reckless with your stuff. Like, don't just flaunt it. Don't put it out there. And don't get involved with shady MFers that are going to go tell on you. Like, that's on you if you get involved with the wrong people. Like, you don't become a victim at that point. You are still one of the ones that took these payments and all that kind of shit whenever you knew that you weren't supposed to do it. So do I think he should have his NCAA records reinstated? No. And that's why the NCAA has not reinstated the records. And I don't care that anybody else is getting paid now because times are different. That's called progression and whatnot. You could have easily taken money, taken all this stuff under the table, and instead you were reckless. And when you're reckless, there are consequences. So it just drives me insane. Here's the other question I had about the Heisman thing. Why the PR blast? Why did we have, 20-something guys show up to take a picture with Reggie getting his Heisman back? And how did we have 20 guys show up and nobody reported this damn thing until after the pictures were already out? How does that work? Like, I do not understand the way that some of this stuff works. I'm going to assume that some of these people knew and they got a little information ahead of time and were asked to sit on it. But is that how journalism works? Really? I mean, seems odd that people would just sit on that story. I found that very interesting. Very, very interesting. Let's see. Next topic. Topic number 4 here. Texas and, well, this is Texas. Sorry, this is topic number 5. Texas and Oklahoma's SEC deals were apparently contingent on each other signing. Now, I found this interesting because was that contingency from the SEC or was that contingency from Oklahoma or Texas deciding, well, if they're not going to go, we're not going to go? And if the SEC was like, well, we don't just want Oklahoma. We got to have 2 schools. So if Texas had decided at the last minute not to do it, Oklahoma probably would have stayed in the Big 12 too. Or would Texas have come in with Oklahoma State? Or sorry, would Oklahoma have come in with Oklahoma State or something like that? I'm interested in that. So I want to find out more about this because the articles that were out there were little gray area kind of stuff. I talked a little bit earlier about the transfer portal, Cormoni McLean, all that kind of stuff. But let's hit topic number 6. Colorado hired Warren Sapp as a graduate assistant, which means he has to be taking classes to be a graduate assistant. The school vetted him. He agreed to like a bunch of stuff where he can be fired if he, does any of this kind of stuff. But look, Warren Sapp is wild. And, I mean, the stories that I have heard about things that he has done at places where he has been employed is just next level kind of stuff. I mean, it's pretty wild. Now, do I think that Warren Sapp could be fantastic as a coach, especially as a recruiter, etc.? Yes, 100%. Like, this guy he has got so much personality. He's awesome, but he's also wild. And I'm curious why he wants to get into coaching. I mean, this dude made a ton of money. He still is out there doing his stuff, going out, being endorsed by certain brands and whatnot. Like, he's still worth a bunch of money. Does he just want to, with Deion Sanders, he had just been around high school athletes forever. And, of course, he had sons that he was coaching. So that one made a little more sense. But Warren Sapp, at least to my knowledge, has never shown any interest in coaching whatsoever. But now here we are. So I'm not sure exactly what to make of that. Topic 7, Louisiana has banned college player props effective August 1st. Okay. Several weeks ago, Charlie Baker, NCAA president, came out and said that he wanted to get this passed through with basically all of the different gambling regulators. He said that it promotes bullying and it's just not something good for. And this was all right after the Jonte Porter stuff in the NBA, right, where it seemed like he was basically fixing his own player props, which is not great, obviously. But, I mean, he's got a lifetime ban from the NBA now because it was proven that was what he was doing. Charlie Baker is pushing that there are, he doesn't want any college prop bets, like player props. And I don't know that you're going to be able to get all these places on board with it. Louisiana has done it, but you have not heard about any others yet. And on top of that, even if you do get those, do you think that the offshore markets are just going to stop allowing that? Because this is a big-time market in sports gambling. I don't believe that you're going to be able to just completely wipe out college player props. That's just not how this is going to work. So, look, this is how the game goes. This is how it is. Suck it up, buttercup kind of stuff, right? Topic 8, Bo Nix, before the draft, before he was drafted 12th overall, came out and told, I believe it was the Oregonian, he said that the SEC is too hostile. Okay. He said, at least on the West Coast, it's not like life or death. It's not, it's not everything. But this is also a guy that, when the Broncos interviewed him, they asked him what was in his backpack. He had cleats. He had tape in case he wanted to get a workout in. Like, everything in his backpack was football related. Okay. So now everything is about football? Like, in the Southeast, that's their pride and joy, is college football. I mean, what are we doing? Why is it that big of a deal? I'm so confused by this, or why he would come out and say that it shouldn't be the end-all, be-all. I just found it very interesting. Look, it is fantastic to be an SEC football player when your team is winning big. But when you're not very good, yeah, it can kind of be rough because these people have invested and put a lot of time and money and effort into getting there, etc. And if you don't perform well, yeah, they're going to be a little irritated. So it is what it is. finally, last topic of the day. Shedeur Sanders is projected to be the number 1 pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. He is plus 100, even money, to be number 1 overall. And if I could get a no bet on that, I might take out another mortgage, because I just don't see it. I don't believe that Shedeur is going to be the number 1 quarterback. How about this? I don't think he's going to be the number 1 pick. I just don't see it. Like, somebody is going to pop up somewhere, but who is going to want to deal with that circus? That's the other part of this. So, and somebody eventually will, because obviously the dude can play. But do his talents outweigh his problems? It's not that he has a bunch of big problems. It's just nuts. Carson, Beck, and Quinn Ewers are both plus 300. There you go. That's going to wrap it up. WinningCuresEverything.com. Check it out, at Gary WCE. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks for listening to Winning Cures Everything. Make sure and follow me on Twitter, at GaryWCE. If you want to toss in a question, you can email me, Gary at WinningCuresEverything.com. Make sure and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.